Hello, it's good to see you. Today we're going to be taking a look at various items that I brought home from my office. I know I've mentioned it several times. Um, I promise I'm almost done talking about it. That I am no longer going to be working where I've been working. So I had to clean out my office, and I had various file cabinets and desk drawers and shelves and areas of my office that had to be cleaned out, and I had to remove all my personal effects. So I have some here that I want to show you, and it's just a wide variety of stuff. If you've ever worked in an office, you probably have similar items in your office. You just come to collect a neat assortment of things. The first thing I have to show you, and they're really in no particular order. The first thing I wanted to show you was this plastic cup. It's insulated. It's like a double wall cup. It's very basic. But this cup I have had almost since the very beginning. When I first started working there, I was a proofreader, and I had this cup then. And I've worked on 3 different floors in the building as I moved around and changed jobs. And this cup has gone with me on every move. I've had it, I would say, at least 16 years, and I only ever used it at work. I bought it brand new, and I've only used it at work. And I would go to the water cooler and fill it with filtered water and ice every morning, and then usually about midday I would go refill it. I don't really even know how much it holds. Maybe 20 ounces. But it's sort of a lavender color. It's not really purple, but it's not blue either. And it seals, like this outer part seals right up here. So I have used this cup every day for at least the last 15 or 16 years. So it's finally come home, and now I can use it here at home. Actually, I don't really need it because I have several of these, and I have some smaller ones too. I love these because even when it's full of a very cold drink like ice water, it doesn't get the condensation on the outside, and that's the reason I really like it. It's because it doesn't get that sweat all over the outside. I can't stand that. Ugh. But it never gets that way, or if it does, it's just a little. But anyway, it has served its purpose and held up rather well, I think. And I have to say, in my 18 and a half years, I maybe only knocked this over twice on my desk, like trying to reach over it. And usually I did it because there was a straw sticking out of it, and like my hand would hit the straw or my arm would hit the straw and it would fall over. I did that maybe only 2 or 3 times. I stopped using straws, and that cut way back on it. I think the last time I did it might have been 4 or 5 years ago. So it's always awful when that happens, though, because it just goes everywhere. And of course, it usually only happens when it's full. So this is my cup. It's been near and dear to me for a long time. Here's another item. I haven't had this quite as long. It's a little wicker basket, a little woven basket. You can see it has that intricate design. And then these little pieces of wood that come up here. And they're attached to the woven part with these little bits here. And they have little round feet. You can see that it's darker on the underside. And this was the container for my pens and pencils and highlighters. This sat on my desk, I'd say probably for the last 10 years. Of course, they had little plastic cups in the supply room that you could get to put your pens in, but they look kind of boring. I wanted something with a little personality to it, something a little more special. And I found this at Goodwill. I don't even remember how much it was. I'm sure it wasn't much. It has this little band across the top too. And I just thought this would make a more interesting and decorative pen and pencil holder than just a plain old plastic cup. So I got it. A lot of these things may end up going back to Goodwill because I don't know that I'm going to need them. Of course, I'm still looking for another job. I'm not in a huge hurry, but I am going to find another job. Some of this stuff I may just tuck away in the attic in a box, and when I go to my new job, if I need it, I'll take it. And next, I have a pair of scissors. I've used these scissors a lot. Now, these I bought myself, and they were very inexpensive, but they are the smoothest. I'm telling you, this is the best pair of scissors I've ever had. They are Acme Value stainless steel scissors. They weren't much at all. They were very inexpensive. They have a plastic handle, but they cut so incredibly smoothly. And again, we had scissors there, but I bought this pair and really liked them. So I used to use it here for wrapping paper. But when I'm not using it for wrapping paper, I have it at work. Sometimes I bring it home for wrapping paper. I have never found another pair that I liked as much as this pair. See, they're nice and shiny. I've had these for several years. And a red plastic handle. I think I got them at Walmart. But I'm not positive about that. I really don't remember. So my scissors were not going to stay. I brought my scissors home so I can have them for wrapping paper. You know, Christmas is going to be here before you know it. This is my little knit hat. Now, years ago, I used to go to a gym that was within walking distance of where I worked. And I went there for about almost 10 years. 3 days a week on my lunch hour, I would go work out. And I would take a longer lunch hour so I could work out longer. And then the other 2 days of the week, I would either take a much shorter lunch hour or take no lunch at all. And sometimes it would be when it was really cold, like in January or February, I would wear this to just stay a little bit warmer. It's navy blue and has little flecks of this sort of an ivory color in there in the yarn, and it's lined on the underside with fleece to make it extra warm. And I just put this on my head because it's really windy down there where I work. It's always windy in between the buildings, especially in the wintertime. That wind will just cut right through you. It's kind of nice in the summer when it's really hot, but not when it's 25 degrees outside. So anything I could do to stay warm, I would put on a scarf, my hat, a thick coat, because I don't like being cold. So this is as far north as I would ever go because I don't like cold. But it's pretty thick. And I kept this in my file cabinet along with some other supplies for the gym. Let's see what else I had. So there was my hat. And, I have this. This is a knee brace. My right knee hates me. And occasionally my kneecap will pop out of place when I'm running. And it is very painful. I have to push it back into place, and then it's usually very sore for several days after that. And I have other issues with my knee in addition to that. But sometimes I would wear this knee brace, although I found it didn't really help much. I guess there's not enough compression or something. I'm not sure. But I have found if I just walk or do the ellipticals, I don't have trouble anywhere near as often. It's only when I run for extended periods of time that it happens. So I have just stopped running for extended periods of time. I will use the elliptical for an extended period, or I will speed walk or whatever. I just don't run anymore, not for long anyway. But I bought this thinking it would help with the pain after it happened one time, and it really didn't Didn't really help much. Has a little cutout there for your knee, like the kneecap right there. But it didn't really help. But I just stuck it in the cabinet along with my hats anyway. And this will probably end up at Goodwill because it doesn't really do what I want it to. But again, I don't have much trouble with it anymore since I stopped running so much. This, I also found this in my gym cabinet. I had a whole cabinet for gym stuff. This is some Vaseline Intensive Care Spray Moisturizer. It's the continuous spray. It's almost like it's like the spray sunblocks that you can get. It's the same concept. And I really like it because it absorbs almost instantly. It doesn't leave a film. So I keep these in my gym bag so I can use it and then just immediately, put and get dressed to go back to work, and it's not all goopy, like sometimes lotion has that goopy feel to it. It's not like that at all. But this was an extra container of it that I had not used yet. And I actually forgot it was in there. It was under some other stuff. So I have a whole new bottle of spray moisturizer. It's so full it doesn't even make a noise. And it says here it's non-greasy. That's pretty good stuff. So I now have that. This was another gym item. I don't go to that gym anymore because they closed, unfortunately. I really hated it when they closed. I found another gym, but it's not as close. But it's better than nothing. This was my umbrella for rainy days when I had to walk to the gym. It's a Totes umbrella. It's kind of a medium size. Some of them are really small and compact, and some are huge. This is like a medium size. You see it's all wrapped up. The little Velcro there. And it has the push button. I'm not going to push it because it's loud. It's like launching a grenade or something. It's very noisy. But I only needed it when I was going to the gym because I had to walk several blocks, and sometimes it was pouring down rain, but I would go anyway. I would just take my umbrella. I have no excuses. I also had my gym shoes. I did not put them over here to show you, but I kept a pair of gym shoes in my filing cabinet. All this was in one cabinet. And I would change shoes before I went, and I had my gym bag with me. But I would go ahead and change shoes because I could walk faster in my gym shoes than I could in whatever work shoes I had on, so I could get there a little bit faster and then wear them back, and I could walk back a little bit faster. So it gave me an extra minute or two to work out. And I also have my spider wire sunglasses. These were for the sunny days when I had to walk, and sometimes the sun was really bright. And one thing I really liked about these, I know they look silly, but they really hug my face. And these are good also for if you're riding a motorcycle. It cuts down on the wind that gets up under here. And walking downtown, like I said, it's really super windy down there. And I find that the wind, especially in the wintertime, really dries my eyes out and it makes them really watery. Sometimes I would get to the gym and it would look like I'd been crying. Like people would ask me if I was okay. And I'm like, I'm fine. The wind would just irritate my eyes so much. And then walking back to work, it was the same way. They would get all watery and my mascara would get messed up and people would think I was upset about something. Like, no, it's just the wind out there. But I found that these really cut down on that because of the curve of the sunglasses up here and here. They really fit my face really well. I found these at Walmart, and I went in there and tried on a bunch of different pairs. But for my face, I found these worked the best. They almost completely seal off around my eyes, and it really cut down on the amount of wind that got to my eyes. So, but since I stopped going to the gym so close to where I worked, I didn't need all that stuff as much anymore. So it's been just languishing in that cabinet for a long time now. I've been going to my other gym for about 2.5 years now. Something like that. And then I went to another gym as well, and it was one I had to walk to, and I went to that one for about 3 years. So it's crazy. Here's something I found in a drawer in my desk. Now, this is not the pair of glasses I wore every day. Oh, they're not in here. Where are my glasses? That's actually not good. There was supposed to be a pair of glasses in here, and they are not here. I had a pair of black rimmed glasses. I wore them in a live stream because I was having trouble reading the feed, and I had to go grab my glasses, but they were supposed to be in here. This is actually a Costco case that another pair of glasses came in, but I'd stuck the black ones in here, and now I don't know where they are. They might be in some of the other stuff. I have several boxes and bags of stuff. I'm hoping they're in one of those, but it was an extra pair of glasses I kept at work. This I found in a drawer, and I had forgotten all about it. It's a picture. That is my first son, my older son, when he was little. And I guess this was the only frame I had at the time. This was taken at my mom's house. I remember that. Hey, cute. He's much bigger than that now. He actually just hit 6 feet. He's 13, and he is now exactly 6 feet tall. So he's a little bit taller than that now. But he had red hair. And for several years, it was all blonde, and now it's turning red again. So it's really strange how it does that. Oh, and speaking of interesting containers for my desk, this has been with me for a very long time. I bought this at a thrift store as well. I think this actually came from Carolina Thrift in Greensboro. They have since closed, unfortunately. It was a great thrift store. But it's an old glass container. I see these in thrift stores around here everywhere all the time, so they're extremely common. It's made of nice thick glass. Originally, I kept my paper clips in here. I've had this for probably 15 years. Because again, I thought it was prettier than just a boring old plastic cup. I thought it was more interesting. I like the graceful curves to it. Comes down here to the base, and you can see the seam here and there. It's kind of heavy, and the seam comes up here. But then later, when I became a paralegal, I started keeping my big rubber bands in here because I had to use these big rubber bands to attach documents to the front of files and stuff. So I would just sort of cram a bunch of big rubber bands down in there so I didn't have to constantly reach in a drawer to get a rubber band. And this sat right next to my tower and my monitor on my desk. And you can get a lot of rubber bands in there. Similar to that is this cute little thing. Isn't that cute? It's such a neat little glass. I don't even know what kind of glass it is, but when I saw it, I thought this would be a nice thing to put my paper clips in. So I kept the big paper clips in here. I like to keep them separated. I had the big ones in here, and I will show you where I had the little ones in a second. But again, this came from a thrift store. It was very inexpensive. This one I haven't had as long, maybe 4 or 5 years. I just happened to spot it. You know what? That'd actually be really cute to put Q-tips in, like for my bathroom. That's not a bad idea. I could put Q-tips in there. So right now I just have them in a little plain glass. This is prettier, so I might do that. So that was for the big paper clips. And the little ones I kept in here. And my ex gave me this. You see it says City of Greensboro, North Carolina, 1808. And it's made of solid wood and it's magnetized. This is where I kept the small paper clips. And they just stay there and you can kind of pull them up so you can easily grab them like that. So I thought that was really cool. So that's where my small paper clips went. And I have a wild assortment of stuff. This was mine and I had to practically crawl under some stuff to get to it. This is very fascinating stuff. This is a surge strip with foam line protection. This was mine and I almost didn't bother to unplug it and bring it home because I have a ton of these at home. But this was only used for one thing all year, every year, ever since I got my office 8 or 9 years ago. This was only used to plug up the lights for the little Christmas tree that I put in my office every year right after Thanksgiving. And there was really, the cord for the lights was so short that it wouldn't reach any of the outlets in my office at all. So I brought this from home so I could plug it up and sort of put it up on the table because the Christmas tree itself was really small and it was only like, it was one of those little miniature trees, like just, not very big. So I would put it on a table in my office and then just kind of set this behind it so I could very easily plug up the short cord for the lights right there. And so the cord didn't have to reach anything far away. And that's the only thing I ever used it for. I guess it will go in the attic. I actually have a whole tote full of stuff like this up there. I guess I'll just put it back in the tote and maybe someone will use it someday. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly fine. So, but yeah, I had this table and it was under the table and then it was plugged up into the wall way behind this big, really big, heavy bookcase. It was a lot of fun trying to get that unplugged. And I would show you the Christmas tree, but unfortunately, I already gave it away. I already took it to Goodwill with a bunch of other stuff, so I actually don't have that anymore. Ooh, this thing's running out of water. I just noticed that. This was a little toy that both of my kids played with. It looks like you can actually add more water. Back here, there's a little plug. I'll just add some water to it. It says PC game. It's made to look like a little computer. And if you grew up in the 80s, you probably remember the little fishing games where and there's not enough water in here to really make it work. But you push the little buttons down here and it sort of squirts the water up a little bit and you try to get the rings up over the swordfish's little thing, or it could be a dolphin's nose or something like that. I remember I had one as a kid, but that's basically the concept of this little thing. It's made out of orange plastic, and yeah, it does look like I can add more water to it if I want to. See, there's a little plug back there. It's right up in that corner. So I could refill it and then it will work again. I might do that. So I kept a few little toys in my office and I had some markers, colored pencils, just little stuff that my kids could occupy themselves with in case if there was an emergency and I had to, like if school got out early for some reason and I had to go pick them up and run back to the office to get something done. If they ended up at my office unexpectedly, I would have a little stuff to keep them occupied so I could get my work done. So, like if the weather was bad, or I know last year they canceled school one day just because it was cold. It was really cold. They never did that when I was in school, but they said it was too cold for school, so they canceled it. I had to go pick them up at like 12 o'clock, and I just took them to work with me, so I had to hang out in my office. All right, now this, I haven't actually looked in here in a while. This is an old Cosmopac. I think I've shown you this before. It's just this rubbery little case. And there's makeup in here. This was for those mornings when I might have been rushed and didn't finish putting on my makeup or didn't have time to really do it. When I got to work, I could do it. Like I had some Southern Magnolia Minerals light foundation powder in a brush. So I could, put on a little bit of this. And it's just like a powder foundation. And I also had this L'Oreal Magic Skin Beautifier BB Cream in light, the light shade. How light? I want to see. It's been in there forever. Let's see what. Oh, that looks like white out. Maybe it needs to be shaken up. There's no way that's the color. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's so old, I'm probably going to throw it out. Ooh, look at that. It's like liquid paper. But then when you put it on, I guess it's supposed to be light, and then you just rub it in. Oh, I see. So you rub it in, and it doesn't look like that anymore. Actually has a nice feel to it. That's all right. It smells nice. Kind of has like a perfumey smell. Oh, and this is from one of my Ipsy Glam bags. I think, maybe not. Bare Minerals Lash Domination Volumizing Mascara. And it's just a little tiny trial size thing of mascara. Boy, look at that brush. Ooh, look how big that brush is. That's gigantic. It's like a caterpillar. And it spirals. So I had that. And I also had this little e.l.f. eyeshadow palette. We have some neutral shades up here. Darker and then a blue. And there's a mirror and a little applicator in there. So if I needed a little eyeshadow, I had that. And a little tiny eyeliner. It's a black eye pencil. Little tiny. It doesn't look like I ever used it. So that way, if I got to work and needed to finish putting on my makeup, I could just grab this bag and go into the bathroom and do that. And I have had to do that. Now this, I don't know why I kept this separate. This is a Neutrogena Mineral Shears Powder Foundation. This I think I'm just going to throw away because it was, I found it in a drawer and it's been in there for a long time. And it's just, like you can see it's almost all used up anyway. You can open it up and there's a mirror and a little thing. So I don't think I'm going to keep that. I think that's probably going to get tossed, but it's been in my drawer for, there's no telling how long. It's like a part of my life. Oh, I almost forgot this. This was tucked away in a little file cabinet that I'd totally forgotten to look in. This is my eyeglass lens cleaner from Flint's Wipe and Clear. And honestly, I use this more for my cell phone screen than I do my glasses. I don't know, especially if my younger son uses it, he leaves sticky fingerprints all over it. And I'll just spray some of this on there and take a paper towel or something and just wipe it off, and it works great. It works on glasses too, but I seem to use it more for my phone than my glasses. But there's still quite a bit left. So that'll last me a while. Oh, now this has been a part of my life for a very long time. Don't judge me on how dirty it is. It's like you don't notice how dirty stuff gets sometimes until you look at it in a different place. This was my mouse pad, and I want to tell you before I show you how dirty it is. It used to be white. I have had this mouse pad for probably close to 15 years. You can see where my arm rests. And sometimes if I got bored, I would sit here and curl the corner. And I'd just sit here and do that. Just like that. But it has, big surprise, a Volkswagen bus on it. I think this was a birthday present from somebody, but I don't remember who. But it might have been a birthday present to myself, honestly, don't remember. But I've had it for a very long time. I had it before I became a paralegal, I do remember that. But you can't really wash it because it'll come apart. But I may stick this in my scrapbook just as a memento of all my years there. I've done a lot of work using that. And here is my electric pencil sharpener. And I bought it because the one in the copy room never worked right. It's always messed up. Nobody ever bothered to do anything about it. So I bought my own pencil sharpener. Unfortunately, this one doesn't work too well either. It's a Foray, F-O-R-A-Y. Not very happy with it. It will sharpen it, kind of, but it doesn't really sharpen it to the point that would make me happy. No pun intended, point. You know, it did a halfway decent job, but it's not like the ones in school, you know, that had the crank on them. Those always work great. This one is just okay. But it was mine and I paid for it, so I brought it home. Now here are two things I had in the top drawer on my desk where I could get to them easily. First I have Dr. Scholl's For Her. It could be for anybody, but it says for her. Miracle Shield Anti-Friction Stick. It's basically, I guess it's just like silicone. Invisible protection from shoe rubbing. And this stuff is great if you have a pair that's like rubbing a blister on your foot anywhere, like a pair of sandals or something. You just take your shoe off, put a little bit of this on your foot or ankle or wherever it's rubbing. And it really helps cut down on that. So it's Dr. Scholl's Miracle Shield. And I kept that in there because sometimes I would wear a pair of shoes and they would feel okay until I'd been at work for a little while, and then I could really start to feel like it was rubbing a blister on my foot somewhere. So then I would just use a little bit of that, and it works wonderfully. And I also had a Tide pen, if you've ever used these. This is Tide to Go. There's still quite a bit in there. I went through several of these over the years. But it looks like a magic marker, but it has Tide stuff in there. If you press it down, it comes out. And you just basically, if you have a stain, you just kind of, it's almost like you're erasing it. And it works pretty well for most things. You know, for grape juice or something like that, it doesn't work quite as well unless you catch it right away. But usually, you know, if I got something on me, I could just clean it off. Because sometimes I would have like a little bottle of my Pepsi or something, and you open it and it kind of sprays everywhere and it gets on you, and you just, you know. So, it's good to keep around. And these I know I've shown you, but they've been such a part of my life, I have to show you again. I have the worst luck with shoes. I have a knack for buying shoes that fall apart, and it doesn't matter how expensive they are. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I tried buying more expensive shoes. My shoes just fall apart, and I don't know why. It's not because I'm rough with them. They just fall apart. So sometimes my shoes would basically disintegrate at work, and I would keep this emergency pair of little ballet flats, and they just curl up. They're comfortable though. I kept these in my drawer because my shoes fell apart so often. I had to have a backup pair of shoes to wear the rest of the day. And that happened many times at work, and I've had them in that drawer for years. And I would have to wear them home and then bring them back the next day and stick them back in the drawer. But they've saved me many times. Oh, and these I take every day. I take 2 of these and 2 of these every day. These are from Natrol. Juice Festive, Daily Fruit, and Daily Vegetable. I don't like VEGGIE. That's just, I don't know, that word just bugs me. I can't stand that. The word is vegetable. I'm going to say vegetable. And it contains 8 vegetables and 5 grains and greens. And this contains 23 fruits. And I take 2 of these a day and 2 of these a day. And I keep these in a drawer at work, so I would have them. And I would always take them right when I got to work. Because I know my diet is not always the best, and thought it would be nice to have a little supplement. Actually running low. And then for especially winter time, I have my can of Static Guard. This stuff is wonderful. Because I wear a lot of wool or just fabrics that seem to generate a lot of static just walking from my car into the office. So when I get in there, if stuff is sticking to me, I can just hit it with that. I have some at home too, but I found it was helpful to also have a can at work to fix it, because sometimes I could use it here, and by the time I got to work, I needed to use it again. And I hate that feeling of static cling. It's just really annoying. So I always keep a can of that at work. And this I bought I bought several of these. They came in a lot of 5 or 6, but the retractable thing wears out after a while. So I bought several extras. This was the last one I had that had not worn out. And since I paid for it, I decided I would bring it home and keep it. I might need it on my next job. You never know. Oh, and these were 2 books. I mainly used these when I did proofreading. Not so much in the last 10 or 11 years. This is the Prentice Hall Handbook for Writers. It's an older book. It's the 4th edition. And I looked up a lot of stuff in here if people had questions about punctuation or grammar or, just sentence structure. Copyright 1965. But those rules don't change, in my opinion. So if anyone had a question and I didn't know how to answer it, I could look it up. And I also had Merriam-Webster's Guide to Punctuation and Style. Write with confidence, an easy-to-use guide to expanding and improving your writing skills. So it was just a little bit of extra information. If I couldn't find it in the Prentice Hall book, I might be able to find it in here. And again, since these were mine and I paid for them, I brought them home. And a date stamp. I was provided one, but it was self-inking, but it didn't self-ink very well. So I bought my own. This is the 2000 Plus Microdater S180. And it's adjustable. Now see, the ink is up here. And you can see that it rotates. And to change the date, you pull it down like this, and then you have little wheels where you can change the month, the day, the year, and it has received in blue ink and the date in red ink, which I really like that. So since I bought it, I brought it home. Oh, and this, since I have cats, is a necessity. My lint roller. I can't tell you the times I got to work and then realized once I got there that on my nice dark pants I had cat hair that I didn't see all over my pants. So that's what the lint roller is for. It's one of the sticky ones. And once you use up one layer, you can peel it off and there's another sticky layer underneath. This one says it's extra sticky. It's from Essentials, and it says it's 25% more. It has 25% more adhesive. So I found it was useful, just like the Static Guard. Sometimes you need to do a little touch up when you get home, when you get to work. And along those lines, I had a tiny little spray bottle of hairspray for, especially if I was walking in and it was really windy and it blew my hair all over the place, and then I just looked insane after that. I could come in, and I had a hairbrush too, but I don't have that over here. I could run into the bathroom, brush my hair out, put a little hairspray on it, and make it look a little better anyway for the rest of the day. But this bottle I would actually refill. I had a great big bottle, and I would just pour some extra in here. This is a 2-ounce bottle. It was originally Tresemme, but I think there's some, I don't know what's in there now, something. Oh, and these, I had totally forgotten these. These are headphones, obviously. Just a basic pair of Panasonic Comfort Fit comfortable headphones. I bought these back when I used to do transcription when I was doing proofreading work and word processing work. But then after I became a paralegal, I wasn't doing it anymore. But they did approach me and ask me a few years ago if I would be interested in helping out with some transcription. And I said, sure. And they brought me everything I needed. The only problem was the headphones that they provided for me were extremely uncomfortable, and I really disliked them. So I thought, if I'm going to be doing this, I need better headphones. So I ended up purchasing these, but then I ended up never having to do any transcription. They ended up not needing me to do it. So I bought these for nothing. But every now and then my kids need headphones for something. So I thought I would just bring these home and put them away in a closet somewhere. And eventually someone will need these for something, I'm sure. They won't go to waste. Oh, and this has been with me for many years. This is just a basic zip-up long sleeve knit jacket, I guess you'd call it. It's from Liz Claiborne. And I kept this in a cabinet at work because sometimes it would get really cold in the office. Even in the middle of summer, it would just be freezing in there. And I love this jacket because it would add a little bit of extra warmth to keep me from freezing to death. And the color, I mean, it doesn't look like much, but this color, there's something about this color that makes it go with just about everything that I ever wear. It matches everything. Like, it's almost like it changes colors depending on what you're wearing. Sometimes it looks more blue, sometimes it looks more gray, but the color is perfect. It just goes with everything. So I could put this on and wear it all day, and it really didn't look out of place most of the time, depending on what I was wearing, and I wouldn't freeze to death. And it has pockets, which is nice. So I've had this for so many years. It has traveled with me all over the place in that company. So that's been a dear friend of mine for a long time. And this item kind of has a little significance to me. It's big. It's a lamp. It's heavy too. This is, oh, well, it's not solid, but it's kind of solid. It's made of metal. This lamp, my mom gave me this lamp. Actually, I had to get the shade. I don't think she had a lampshade for it. My mom was a social worker for many years throughout my childhood and young adulthood and beyond. And when she used to work for one county, and she bought this lamp while she was working there, and that was back in like the very early 90s. And then she got a supervisor's job in another county, and this went with her. And there were so many times I can remember sitting in her office with her after school, or I just dropped by to see her for some reason, and this lamp was always on her desk in her office. So she retired right before my older son was born, and she kept the lamp. And when I finally got my own office about 9 years ago, or 10 years ago, something like that, she asked me if I needed a lamp for my office, and I said sure. So she let me have her lamp from her two offices. So I thought that was kind of cool. You know, I saw this growing up, and it was kind of neat to finally have it in my own office. So that was really nice, but it is heavy. It's a heavy lamp. So that was another difficult thing to unplug because my desk was very large. It was like an L shape and really heavy. I couldn't move it. I had to basically lay across my desk and reach down between the desk and the wall to get to the outlet to unplug it. It was really funny. Yeah, it was the only way I could unplug it, but I wanted to bring it home. I didn't want to leave it there. And the last two things have been with me longer than any of this stuff. These two things right here, they don't look like much, but they are. This is my ID card, and I have had this clipped to me every day, 5 days a week, for 18 years. This little ID card. And this was my pass to unlock the doors. You know, we have a security, so you have to have cards to get into different parts of the building. And it used to have my name on it, and you can kind of see where it's lighter right there where the sticker was with my name on it, but it peeled off years ago. Of course, there's no other identifying information to say what company it's for. That way, if you drop it out on the street and someone picks it up, they're not going to know where to use it. And they wouldn't know where to go. It wouldn't give them access because they wouldn't know where to go to use it. This was my parking pass to park in the parking deck. And you just lay it on the little plate and it makes the gate open. So I didn't have to pay for my parking. And this has traveled with me from car to car to car, depending on whatever I was driving, for 18 and a half years. And it looks pretty good. The only bad thing is the back is kind of warped. But this thing sat in hot cars, cold cars, temperature changes every day for 18 and a half years. So actually, considering that, it doesn't look too bad. And this has been clipped to me for 18 and a half years and doesn't look too bad. See, right now I'm using this kind of clip. Sometimes I would use the retractable one, but I'd kind of gone with this one. I would usually change, and the snap wouldn't stay snapped, so I had to actually add some super glue to it to make it stay. So I had been using this kind of clip for a while. But these, I have to turn in. I don't get to keep these. It's kind of sad, but I will be turning these in. It's like the end of an era, you know. I think that's going to be one of the hardest things I do is give these back, and I'll have to get something validated to get out for the last time. So it's kind of bittersweet, but and a box of Kleenex. If I get sad, I can wipe my eyes. But it's bittersweet, but it's not a bad thing. I'm not upset. I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. And I have plenty of time to find the job that's right for me, and I'm not worried about that at all. I think it's going to be fine. So, but I just wanted to show you some of the stuff from my office. Some of it I'll keep, some of it I won't. But I just wanted to share that with you before I do whatever I do with it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again really soon.